What if I told you that the life you're living right now, your routines, your reactions, your fears, your habits, is only a fraction of what you're capable of, and the only reason you haven't stepped into that higher version of yourself is because no one ever taught you how to access it? And what if, in the next few minutes, you could learn something that shifts the entire trajectory of your mindset, your confidence, and your future? I want you to stay with me, not because I need your attention, but because you deserve to finally understand why you keep falling into the same patterns, why certain people can drain your energy so easily, and why you feel stuck even when you're trying so hard to evolve. There's a reason for all of it, and once you hear it, you won't see yourself or your relationships the same way again. Most people go through life reacting, not choosing. They let circumstances dictate their emotional state. They let the world decide how worthy they feel. But there comes a moment, a very specific moment, when a person wakes up and realizes that they don't have to be shaped by what happens to them. They can shape who they become because of it. That moment is powerful, it's rare, and it's usually triggered by one insight that finally lands in the right way, at the right time. Maybe that moment is this one for you. So before you scroll, before you switch to something else, give yourself this space. For the next few minutes, allow your mind to be challenged, your beliefs to be questioned, and your potential to be recalled, because it's still there, waiting for you to claim it. And if you stay until the end, you won't just understand yourself better, you'll walk away with one shift that may just change the way you approach your entire life. When a woman adjusts herself around you, most men completely overlook what's actually happening beneath the surface. They see it as casual, harmless, meaningless, but nothing in human behavior, especially feminine behavior, is meaningless. Everything is communication, everything is psychology. And if you don't understand the psychology, you miss the message she's sending straight to you without ever saying a word. Think about it. A woman is not going to openly walk up to you and confess her attraction. She's not wired to be that direct. Her communication is layered, subtle, instinctive. She reveals interest through micro behaviors, tiny shifts in her posture, the way she touches her hair, how she adjusts her clothes, the way she positions her body. And the moment you enter the space and she begins fixing, smoothing, or rearranging herself, that's not coincidence. That's a biological and psychological response to the presence of someone she wants to be perceived a certain way by. A woman only prepares what she cares to present. If you walk into the room and she straightens her back, adjusts her shirt, pulls her hair forward, or tucks it behind her ear, she's not just fixing her appearance. She's preparing herself for you. Her body is saying, "Be aware of me, notice me, I see you." This is not vanity, this is attraction expressing itself through instinct. You need to understand that women don't adjust for men they don't care about. If she's indifferent, she stays exactly how she was. She makes no effort to regulate her appearance. She has no internal pressure to look better. But the moment you walk in and something shifts in her behavior, no matter how slight, that's emotional influence. That's you affecting her state. This adjustment behavior is rooted in evolutionary psychology. Throughout history, appearance has been linked to fertility, desirability, and value within pair bonding. Women learned to communicate interest through appearance because being direct could be dangerous, costly, or socially punished. So attraction became encoded into subtle signals: the flick of hair, the smoothing of fabric, the softening of posture. These were ways to show interest without exposing vulnerability too quickly. So when she does this around you, she isn't trying to seduce you loudly. She's doing it in the way feminine energy naturally communicates, quietly, gracefully, indirectly, but intentionally. Her mind is evaluating you, her heart is responding to you, and her body is aligning with that internal reaction. But here's where most men fail: they notice the adjustment, but they don't understand what it means. They assume she's just fixing herself because she's self-conscious. Or they assume every woman behaves like this around everyone. They dismiss it, they ignore it. They let the moment slip by, and by doing that, they lose their advantage. Because if you don't know when a woman is opening the door, you'll always think women are hard to read. They're not hard to read. You just have to stop reading like a man and start observing like a leader. When a woman adjusts herself around you, she's not trying to control your perception, she's trying to elevate it. She's signaling that your presence has weight, that your attention matters. It's her way of saying, your eyes change me, but emotionally, energetically, psychologically. And yet, you must never react with desperation or over-excitement. Recognition does not mean pursuit. Understanding does not mean chasing. The point is not to jump at every sign, it's to become aware of your influence. Because the man who understands his influence becomes confident. The man who understands his impact becomes grounded. A grounded man doesn't chase validation. He acknowledges interest, but he remains centered in his own purpose. That's the real power here. The ability to observe without losing yourself. When she adjusts herself for you, she's revealing attraction. But when you respond with maturity, poise, and self-assuredness, she realizes you are a man who cannot be thrown off his axis. And that, right there, is when attraction transforms into respect. Respect transforms into desire. And desire becomes connection. So next time you walk into a room and she straightens up, fixes her hair, or subtly shifts her posture, don't ignore it. Don't overact to it. Just understand it. Understand what your presence is doing. Understand what she's communicating without words. Understand your power and carry yourself like a man worthy of the attention she's giving you. Because once you understand the psychology behind her adjustments, you stop guessing your worth and start owning it. And that is the moment everything begins to change. When a woman lowers her voice around you, most men don't realize what they're witnessing. They think she's just being polite, or shy, or simply speaking softly out of habit. But in psychology, there is no such thing as just. Every shift in tone, pace, or volume carries meaning, especially when it comes from a woman navigating her attraction toward a man. A woman's voice is one of her strongest emotional instruments. It reveals what her mind is processing and what her heart is trying to conceal. When she's around someone she doesn't care about, her voice is neutral, functional, automatic. She speaks out of obligation, not emotion. But when she's around a man she feels something for, something she might not even admit to herself, her voice changes instantly. It softens, it slows, it becomes warmer, more controlled, more deliberate. And this is not random, it is biological, psychological, and deeply feminine. Lowering her voice is her way of creating intimacy without declaring it. It's her way of drawing you closer without moving an inch. She's not trying to seduce you with words, she's seducing you with the energy behind those words. A softer tone is a private invitation. It creates a sense of closeness, a sense that the conversation has crossed from public to personal. And that is exactly where attraction grows. But here's the deeper truth: a woman will only soften her voice around a man who makes her feel safe. Safety is the prerequisite for femininity. If she feels judged, tense, or uncomfortable, her voice becomes sharper, harder, more defensive. But when she feels emotionally protected, even if she barely knows you, her tone naturally shifts into softness. Softness is not weakness, it is trust. And trust is the foundation of seduction. This shift in tone also reflects a philosophical principle about human connection. People adjust their communication style based on the emotional value they place on the person in front of them. When she lowers her voice, she is lowering her guard. She is allowing you to experience a version of her that others rarely see. She's not broadcasting, she's confiding. She's not performing, she's connecting. And what's even more interesting is how her voice may fluctuate depending on your reaction. If you respond with calmness, confidence, and grounded energy, her tone softens even more. But if you react with overeagerness or nervous excitement, she will unconsciously pull back. Women mirror emotional states in the same way they mirror body language. What you project, she amplifies. When your energy is steady and masculine, her energy becomes warmer and more feminine. This is why your presence matters as much as her behavior. Her tone is not just about her attraction, it's also a reflection of your demeanor. A man who is chaotic inside receives chaotic communication. A man who is stable receives soft communication. Women don't just respond to men, they respond to the version of themselves that a man's presence awakens in them. So when she lowers her voice, she's doing two things simultaneously. She's revealing something about how she feels about you, and she's testing something about how you feel about yourself. She wants to see if you can handle intimacy without collapsing into neediness, if you can handle softness without losing your grounding, if you can handle attraction without sacrificing your self-control, because any man can get attention, but not every man can remain composed when attention becomes intimate. Your responsibility is not to jump at the sign or misinterpret it as permission to accelerate. Your responsibility is simply to recognize it, to understand the emotional space being created, to respond with presence, not pressure, to meet her softness with strength, not intensity. And this is where most men go wrong. They assume a soft voice means she wants immediate closeness. But a soft voice doesn't demand closeness, it invites it. And invitations are to be acknowledged, not rushed. You build connection not by invading the space she opens, but by valuing it, by being patient enough to let that space grow naturally. A woman's lowered voice is one of the most honest signals of attraction. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, it's not performative, it's real, it's subtle, it's intentional. And once you learn to hear it, not just with your ears, but with your awareness, you begin to understand the deeper language women speak, the language of tone, energy, and emotional resonance. So when she lowers her voice around you, don't dismiss it. Don't overlook it. Don't tell yourself it means nothing. Understand it for what it truly is: a quiet doorway opening, a moment of intimacy forming, a signal that your presence is affecting her. And the man who recognizes that signal doesn't just become more confident, he becomes more powerful. Because awareness is power, presence is power, and understanding the unspoken language of attraction is one of the greatest advantages a man can have. So remember this: when her voice softens for you, she is letting you in, and what you do with that moment determines everything that comes next. When a woman mirrors your body language, most men don't even realize the significance of what's happening. They think it's a coincidence, just a natural part of conversation, something people do without thinking. But nothing in human connection is accidental. Mirroring is one of the most powerful subconscious signals of attraction, and if you don't understand it, you miss one of the clearest invitations she's giving you without ever speaking it out loud. Mirroring is rooted in deep psychological wiring. Humans synchronize with the people they feel emotionally connected to. It's why you pick up someone's slang when you spend too much time with them, why you laugh the same way as your closest friend, why couples eventually start resembling each other in posture and expression. But here's the deeper layer: women mirror selectively. They do not mirror every man. They mirror the man who influences their emotional state. So when you lean back and she leans back too, when you shift your shoulders and she subtly shifts hers, when you slow your movements and she naturally slows down, that's not mimicry. That's alignment. She's tuning her energy to match yours, and people only align with the energy they feel drawn toward. Attraction is not just chemistry, it's synchronization. A woman's feminine psychology is built on connection. While men are biologically wired for direction, women are wired for resonance. So when she mirrors you, she's expressing, I feel safe with your rhythm. I feel connected to your pace. I feel in sync with you. She's not trying to copy you. Her subconscious is responding to your presence. Mirroring is her body's way of saying, I'm with you. Not physically, but emotionally. And this is why your energy as a man matters. You set the tone. Women respond to the environment you create. If you are calm, grounded, composed, she will resonate with that calmness. If you are anxious or restless, she will reflect that unease back to you. The feminine mirrors the masculine not out of weakness, but out of emotional intelligence. It's how she evaluates compatibility. It's how she tests whether your presence elevates her or destabilizes her. Most men misunderstand tests. They think a test is always a challenge or a confrontation. But some of the biggest tests are silent. They live in these subtle, psychological exchanges. Mirroring is one of them. She's not just aligning with you, she's watching how you hold yourself while she aligns. If you lose your composure when you notice her copying your movements, she'll retreat. But if you remain steady, confident, self-assured, it deepens her trust. Because here's the truth, a woman mirrors a man she respects. And a woman respects a man who is centered. Mirroring also exposes something else, your influence. A man who has no influence over a woman's emotional state will see no changes in her posture or gestures. She will stay neutral, unaffected, uninterested. But the man who affects her, she can't hide it. Her body responds before her mind can stop it. She leans when you lean. She smiles when you smile. She relaxes when you relax. And she does it without knowing why. But your job is not to exploit this. Your job is to understand it. To recognize the silent conversation happening beneath the verbal one. To realize that a significant part of attraction is nonverbal, intuitive, instinctive. Women speak through gestures long before they speak through words. And when you become aware of these signals, your confidence shifts. You stop wondering if she's interested. You stop overthinking. You stop chasing validation. Instead, you start observing, you start leading. You start becoming the kind of man who notices reality instead of inventing insecurities in his mind. This awareness also teaches you something important about power, not dominance, but presence. Presence is the ability to influence an environment without forcing anything. When your presence is strong, women respond. When your presence is stable, they align. When your presence is grounded, they soften. Mirroring is simply the outward expression of that inner dynamic. So the next time she matches your posture, adjusts her pace to yours, or reflects your gestures, don't dismiss it. Don't overanalyze it. Just understand it. It means you matter. It means your energy is impacting her. It means she feels connected to you, even if she hasn't said it yet. And in those moments, hold your frame. Stay centered. Stay grounded. Stay in the energy she is responding to. Because a man who knows how to lead himself becomes the man a woman wants to follow into alignment. Mirroring is not a game, it's an invitation. And the man who recognizes it becomes the man who steps into his own power. Because connection doesn't start with her behavior, it starts with your presence. And the moment you understand that, you stop chasing and start attracting. When a woman challenges you, most men misunderstand what that actually means. They assume she's being difficult, disrespectful, or uninterested. But in psychology, attraction is rarely expressed through comfort alone. Sometimes it's expressed through friction. Sometimes it's expressed through tension. Sometimes it's expressed through the small ways she tests the strength of the man standing in front of her. Because feminine attraction is not passive, it is evaluative. A woman doesn't challenge the man she doesn't care about. She challenges the man she is curious about. You have to understand something essential about feminine psychology. Women don't give their trust to just anyone. They need to feel a man's stability before they let their guard down. And stability cannot be judged by words. Stability is revealed in how a man reacts, how he responds under pressure, how he handles disagreements, how he manages conflict, how he carries himself when someone pushes his boundaries even slightly. So when she challenges you, she's not trying to overpower you. She's trying to understand you. She wants to see who you become when things aren't perfectly smooth. A challenge can be subtle or direct. It might look like questioning your opinion. It might look like teasing you, interrupting you, disagreeing with you unexpectedly. It might look like giving you a small attitude or pushing back when you expect softness. And many men take this personally. They think it means she's rejecting them. But in reality, she's observing. She's watching how your ego behaves. She wants to see if you can stay composed or if you crumble at the slightest pressure. Because a woman cannot lean into a man who collapses emotionally. She cannot trust a man who loses his balance over small things. A challenge is not an attack. It's a measurement. This is why a woman may seem incredibly sweet with a man she doesn't truly care for, yet a bit fiery with the man she is genuinely attracted to. Attraction awakens evaluation. Comfort without attraction creates politeness. But attraction with potential creates curiosity, and curiosity is what drives her to test your intelligence, your confidence, your emotional maturity. She wants to know if you can lead. She wants to know if you have conviction. She wants to know if you stand firm in your truth without being rigid or hostile. This is a philosophical principle as much as a psychological one. Strength is not proved in isolation, it is revealed in relationship. A man can appear confident alone, but real confidence is exposed in how he handles other people, especially a woman who is emotionally charged by his presence. So when she challenges you, she's giving you an opportunity to demonstrate your character, not through dominance, but through steadiness. The mistake many men make is trying to overpower the challenge or avoid it completely. They either become aggressive or overly compliant. Both responses fail the test. Aggression shows insecurity. Compliance shows weakness. What she's looking for is balance, firmness without force, confidence without arrogance, certainty without inflexibility. She wants to see if you can hold tension without losing yourself. In a deeper psychological sense, her challenge is a form of communication. She is expressing interest wrapped in intensity. She is saying, if I push slightly, will you stay grounded? If I question you, will you stay sure of yourself? If I disagree, will you still remain present and engaged? She's not trying to provoke a fight. She's trying to find alignment. Feminine energy feels safest when masculine energy is centered. And challenges reveal whether you are centered or pretending to be. There is also an emotional honesty encoded in her challenge. Women rarely challenge men they don't value. If she doesn't care, she won't invest her emotional energy. Disinterest creates silence, not friction. When she challenges you, she's not pushing you away. She's pulling at the edges of your personality, trying to see what's underneath. She's not testing to hurt you. She's testing to understand you. And when you respond with calmness, confidence, and clarity, something powerful happens. Her challenge dissolves. Her guard softens. Her respect increases. She sees that she cannot move you off center. She sees that you don't lose your sense of self in pressure. She sees that you carry your masculinity with depth, not ego. And that's when trust begins. That's when attraction deepens. That's when connection expands. So the next time a woman challenges you, don't take it as disrespect. Don't react defensively. Don't fold. Recognize it for what it truly is. A doorway to deeper connection and a moment that reveals your strength more than any compliment ever could. Because her challenge is not a threat. It is an invitation. And the man who understands that becomes the man who rises above the noise. Respond with composure and you show her who you are. Respond with strength and you show her who you can become. Respond with presence and you show her why you're worth choosing. When a woman becomes nervous around you, most men misinterpret it completely. They assume she's uninterested, intimidated, or simply awkward. But nervousness is one of the most revealing signs of attraction because it exposes something no one can fake: emotional impact. When you affect her, her body reacts before her mind can hide it. That reaction is honest, it's unfiltered, it's raw, and it tells you more about her feelings than anything she could ever say. Nervousness shows up in 1,000 small ways. She might stumble over her words, laugh too quickly, avoid eye contact, or suddenly become hyper-aware of herself. Her hands fidget, her breathing shifts, she adjusts her clothes, even when they don't need adjusting. Maybe she can talk to everyone else in the room with perfect ease, but when it comes to you, she becomes a different version of herself. Softer, more uncertain, more vulnerable. That's not disinterest. That's emotional activation. You're not just another person to her. You're someone who triggers something deeper. And here's the part that many men forget: genuine attraction rarely looks smooth. It rarely looks perfect. When a woman is truly interested, she feels pressure. She wants to be perceived well. She wants to present her best self. And because of that internal desire, her emotions get tangled with her instincts. That tension produces nervousness. It's not weakness. It's not insecurity. It's her feminine energy responding to a masculine presence that affects her. This nervousness comes from an evolutionary and psychological foundation. Throughout history, a woman's survival depended on selecting a partner wisely. Her emotions were wired to respond strongly to the man who held value in her perception, whether through strength, intelligence, presence, or confidence. That emotional response would heighten her sensitivity and lower her defenses, creating the kind of nervousness that still exists today. It's biology speaking through behavior. But deeper than biology is psychology. Nervousness around a man shows she feels seen, truly seen. That's why a woman can speak boldly with others, but suddenly softens when talking to the one man who stands out to her. His presence magnifies her awareness of herself, and that awareness creates hesitation, not because she doubts him, but because she wants to be enough for him. This is why men must stop assuming confidence is the only indicator of interest. Confidence is often an act. Nervousness is real. When she's nervous, she's emotionally open, she's vulnerable, she's connected, she's affected, and being affected is the essence of attraction. But here is where your role becomes important. How you respond to her nervousness determines whether it deepens into connection or collapses into discomfort. If you judge her, she retreats. If you mock her, she shuts down. If you become awkward with her awkwardness, the emotional tension becomes overwhelming. But if you remain steady, if you stay grounded, calm, and present, you create safety. And safety dissolves fear and allows attraction to grow. A grounded man becomes the emotional anchor in the moment. Your calmness regulates her nervousness. Your presence stabilizes her energy. The more steady you are, the more she relaxes. And when she relaxes around you, the connection strengthens. What started as nervousness transforms into excitement. Excitement transforms into trust. Trust transforms into desire. Most men don't understand this transformation because they're too focused on their own insecurities. They think she's nervous because something is wrong. But the truth is the opposite. She's nervous because something is happening. Something within her is shifting. Something is pulling her toward you even if she's trying to hide it. And that internal shift creates the tension you're seeing externally. A woman doesn't get nervous around a man she doesn't care about. She doesn't overthink her words for someone she's indifferent toward. She doesn't blush, fidget, or lose her composure for a man who has no impact on her. Emotional neutrality creates calmness. Emotional attraction creates nervousness. Once you understand this, you stop misreading her signals and start recognizing your influence. And the real power comes not from noticing her nervousness, but from holding your presence when you see it. You don't have to fix it. You don't have to comment on it. You simply remain stable, confident, and self-assured Because the man who can stay grounded when a woman is emotionally affected by him is the man who earns her respect without ever asking for it. So the next time she becomes nervous in your presence, don't mistake it. Don't dismiss it. Don't run from it. Understand it. Acknowledge it internally. Know what it means. And stay centered, because her nervousness is not a problem. It's a revelation. It reveals that you matter. It reveals that she feels something. And it reveals that the connection has already begun. Hold your presence, and you allow that connection to grow